GLP-1 turned down my hunger, but it didn't turn down my stress. For the last couple of weeks, I've been noticing something very specific about how stress still shows up for me, even on Mounjaro. And I want to walk you through it because I think it'll sound familiar. For the last couple of weeks, work has been in one of those overload stretches. New projects, new responsibilities, unrealistic deadlines, a lot of pressure compressing into a short window. I'm not just tired, I can feel myself carrying it into the day. Tight, keyed up, already spending energy before I even arrive. So here's the pattern I've noticed. About 5 minutes before I arrive at work, I've got about a 35-minute commute. So about 5 minutes before I get to work, I pull into a convenience store. My intent is to get a giant diet Mountain Dew that I use to power myself through the day. But what I end up doing is not just grabbing a giant diet Mountain Dew, I also grab a 6-pack of Hostess powdered donuts, about 400 calories and a lot of sugar. And I eat them in about 5 minutes or less as I drive that last 5 minutes to work. And this is important. It's not a treat. It's not this delicious delicacy that I savor and enjoy. It's medicine. Because when I walk into that building in the morning, especially on stressful weeks, I have to flip a switch. I instantly need to be calm, present, and fully functional immediately, regardless of how loaded or frustrated I feel at the time. And on high pressure weeks, that switch takes more force to flip. So my brain reaches for the fastest, most reliable mute button for stress that it knows. Sugar plus caffeine. Fast, private, and predictable. That's why this isn't about hunger, and it's not about a failure of Mounjaro or GLP-1 medication. GLP-1 medications help with appetite and portion size. It doesn't regulate anger, resentment, or mental overload. What really helped me understand this was a conversation I was in recently. It was Friday. 6 of us were sitting around a table talking about lunch. It was mid-morning. We had come to the end of a meeting. One person said they didn't want to eat what they had packed for lunch, and someone suggested Uber Eats. Someone else said, I've been so good this week, I earned fast food. Another said, this week was stressful. I deserve a treat. Everybody laughed because everyone recognized the pattern. And it hit me. Everyone emotionally eats. Some people eat for reward. Some people eat for comfort. Some people eat for relief. The difference isn't character, the difference is cost. And here's what I mean by that. Some people have a bigger metabolic buffer than others. And a lot of people have a bigger metabolic buffer than I do. Youth, muscle mass, more forgiving physiology. So the same Friday decisions don't show up the same way for some people as they do for me. At 60, my body doesn't forgive it the same way as it does for someone who is 28. GLP-1s help restore some of that buffer, but it doesn't erase the human need for relief. Once I saw the pattern clearly, I didn't try to become stronger or more disciplined. I removed the access point. I realized the trigger wasn't the donuts, it was the stop at the gas station. I was going in for a Diet Mountain Dew, and then the donuts came along with the Diet Mountain Dew for free. So what did I do? I packed a Diet Mountain Dew at home so I'd have it when I got to work. I remove the need to stop at the convenience store, and I remove the access point to those Hostess powdered mini donuts. And then I already had a mid-morning snack, but if I'm feeling that need for a kind of stress relief snack, what I have is a chocolate protein shake and then a Fiber One chocolate brownie that I like. And the protein shake gives me 30 grams of protein. The Fiber One is 70 calories, and it gives me, I think, 7 grams of fiber. So, I mean, it's not perfect, but instead of high calorie, sugary powdered donuts, I can choose if I feel like it'll help me. I'll have my chocolate shake and my chocolate fiber brownie earlier. And when I've done that, I find it does the trick. It's familiar, it's chocolatey, it's creamy, and it works emotionally. It also supports my eating plan with the protein and the fiber, both of which you need on Mounjaro to protect from muscle loss and to fight against constipation. So it works. No stop, no donuts, no internal debate for several days in a row. Then Friday happened. I forgot to pack the Diet Mountain Dew. So I stopped just for the Diet Mountain Dew, and I walked out with the Diet Mountain Dew and the powdered donuts. And here's the lesson that matters. The strategy didn't fail. I failed to implement the strategy. And that told me something really important. If a plan only works when I remember to do it, it's not finished yet. Stress doesn't negotiate. It exploits gaps. It takes advantage of opportunities. So I want to be clear about one thing. I am still using food to manage stress, just better food that helps me instead of hurting me. That's tactical, but it's not the end goal. So here's how I'm thinking about stress eating now. And this is the part you can apply to your own situations. First, identify the function. What job is the food doing for you? For me, it's not hunger, it's role entry regulation. It helps me flip that switch when I've got to go into work and I've got to be on immediately. So first, identify the function. Second, find the access point. Not the food, the moment, the stop, the drive-through, the drawer. Where do you have access to this food that you're using? Third, replace the function, not just the calories. If food is acting like a mute button, you need a different mute button. It has to be fast, private, dignity-preserving, or your brain will veto it. Fourth, build redundancy. If one misstep brings the whole thing down, the system isn't robust yet. And fifth, treat this like a surge protocol, not a personality flaw. For me, this kind of behavior shows up in overload weeks, not every week. That means I need a plan that activates during pressure and then stands down afterward, not a permanent state of vigilance. So this is something I do when things get hard, but I also have to, not every week is like that, and I don't always need that. So I need to release some of these things when it eases. The image that helped me is this. I don't want to sprint into work like this is a one-time event. This is a marathon. I want to move at a sustainable pace, stay in my limits at work without guilt, and still give my best every day. The phrase I've been using lately as a little mantra for myself is quietly sovereign. I work at my pace with care regardless. And I say that to myself sometimes. I work at my pace with care regardless. I'm doing my best, giving my best at work, but I'm also taking care of myself and respecting my limits at the same time. That mindset, as I'm able to internalize and incorporate and embrace that and live that, that over time is reducing the muting that I need to do with powdered donuts or with Fiber One brownies and a protein shake. Okay, that's the stress eating piece for this week. This is jab number 4 of 2026. So I want to run through quickly my eating, exercise, and weight this week. This Friday, I weighed in at 246.9. That's actually up 1.5 pounds. That's within a normal fluctuation, but I think my calories were up some this week. I never lost control, but I did have some donut incidents, as I've talked about previously, and I'm taking action to address that. But my weight was up. So, what I'm committed to for the next week is really carefully tracking, because it's easy for me to let 200, 300, 400, 500 calories slip in without really being cognizant of it. So I want to really nail down what am I eating every day, get honest with myself, and make sure I'm eating at a level that I need to sustain weight loss. My exercise has been good, although a little challenging. I've started using a Concept 2 rower. I started rowing at 2,000 meters. And this week, for the first time, I worked up to 5,000 meters, 3.1 miles. I was very proud of myself. I've really improved my form in the rowing. I really enjoy it. I moved the rower from the garage to the living room. Fortunately, I have a wonderful wife who supports me getting healthy. So there's less friction in getting to the exercise. And my family kind of likes me being in the house when I'm doing my workout and stuff. I'm still around. So that's gone well. The problem I'm having is it's a whole body workout. And so I'm getting whole body sore every time I increase the distance. So this week, the soreness has been a little tough. And I actually just took 3 days in a row off because the soreness had just accumulated. I want to be fresh for work tomorrow, and then I'll return to the rower after work. So I believe this rower is a great long-term solution where it's building my cardiovascular capacity. It's building whole body strength and movement and function. It's good for stress relief after work. It's something I can do at home and I can do inside. I live in northern Illinois where temperatures last week got down to like -20, -30 with wind chill. So it helps to have something I can do inside. Then other opportunities open up once the weather breaks in, April, May here. So that's where I'm on weight, exercise, eating. I think that's it for today. So remember, stress eating does not mean the medication failed. It just means you found the edge of what still needs support. We'll talk more of that. I've got a great school community for people on GLP-1s. I'll put that link in the description. It's $25 and you're in for the life of the group, which I plan on it being for a long time. A great place to get support from some really good people, central to my life, and it'll give us an opportunity to interact. Of course, you can also interact through the comments. Let me know how you approach stress eating, what is working for you. I'd love to hear your suggestions. This is a growing area for me. All right, take care. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one.